K-Learn programming is made possible in part by Sanford Children's.
Good evening, and welcome to this month's edition of The School Zone. I'm your host, Ross Miller. Recently, the Homebuilders Association of Sioux Falls donated funds to Sioux Falls School District for the technical education programs at the high schools. The Roosevelt Carpentry Program decided to purchase a special downdraft table with their donation. K-Learn TV was on hand for this presentation.
Well, welcome everybody for coming. Just going to give you, my name's Steve Van Buskirk. I'm the president of the Homebuilders Association of the Sioux Empire. Our organization's been around since 1956, we've been active in the home building industry, advocate for education programs like this that you see today, and working to keep the cost of housing affordable is one of our main missions. Our membership, we've got over 100 members in our association. And we're very proud to do stuff like this, like we're doing today. We've got a charitable foundation, which is called the CARE Foundation, and Marcy is actually the chair of it this year. We just got to organize it. We just formalized it this year, so that's new and exciting for us. So I'm going to introduce her, and she's going to tell us about the CARE Foundation and how Homebuilders cares.
Thanks, Steve. Again, my name is Marcy Pierlett, and I work for Frisbee's Plumbing, Heating, and Electrical. But I am this year's chair for the Sioux Falls Care Foundation, and it was just formally established this year. The foundation assumes responsibility for many of the educational and charitable activities of the Homebuilders, like the Tools for Schools program, also scholarship fund distribution, and a variety of community service projects. And we receive funds for those activities from a lot of HV activities, like the product show silent auction, and the showcase remodeled homes, the feature home on the Parade of Homes, the Street of Dreams, and of course direct contributions. And we are very excited to be able to help support these programs. We are hoping that these monies are going to bring new energy to the curriculum and provide a better learning environment for the students. And with that, the foundation would like to present Roosevelt with a check for $2,000 for the Denry downdraft table. And who's going to accept?
I guess I will.
Okay, and we get to pose for picture. Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome. I'd also like to present to represent from Washington High School a check for $997, and we got to stop pose. And a check to Lincoln High School for $925, and they will be using those checks, other tools and equipment for their schools. With that, I would like to turn it over to Cheryl O'Brien, the high school coordinator for the Sioux Falls School District, on her comments on the importance of funding provided to the Sioux Falls School District.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you to the Homebuilders Association for your generous gift this afternoon. I know that it has been communication over a period of time that has come to today. And I so appreciate the efforts from your association and what it does for the students in our schools.
Downdraft table designed to take the air, and in this case the sawdust is generated by the sanders, pulls the air and the sawdust down into the filters. The filters trap the sawdust so it's not floating through all of the shop, it's not getting in your nose and your lungs. It's kind of a safety hazard for our students to be standing and getting all that dust in their lungs. This prevents most of the dust.
Our big motivation on the Tools for Schools program is we just like to see the kids go into our industry and be carpenters and electricians for the future, because we have the same issues as every other industry. We've got the baby boomers, they're getting older and we're losing those skills. So if we don't have these young men and women coming up through the ranks and starting out here in the classroom and working themselves up through the other programs or getting on-site experience, we just won't have qualified carpenters for the future to build the houses that we need. So that's a big part of it, and we just see a gap between what's being offered as far as the education programs, the vocational skills aren't as emphasized as much as the college prep skills. So we just like to try to give them as many tools as we can.
And as soon as the Tools for School program came up, it's something that we all jumped on because it made us feel so great. I mean, this is really impacting our industry. And it felt like the first thing we were really doing to help support these programs that we are afraid are in danger of being lost. Go to our Homebuilder's website. You can download our scholarship application. We are giving out 5 $1,000 applications. I believe the deadline is April, and they go towards any field in the construction industry. So you could be in landscaping, it could be construction management, it could be plumbing, heating, or electrical. Anything that is trade or industry related qualifies, and you simply fill out that application and it's reviewed by the education committee and then approved by the board.
A great big thank you for the purchase of this standing table, but for their support through the years. The program's about 20 years old, and all the way through, the home builders have supported us, been involved with some of the projects, got us involved with the Home Building Association, had our students involved. We have done some projects for the Home Builders Association. They have an education committee, they have a scholarship fund. It's just unbelievable what the home builders have done for not only Sioux Falls, but the surrounding area.
Hawthorne Elementary School played a host to a special program sponsored by McDonald's. The Pass to Play program teaches student games from other countries.
My name's John Chesney. I'm the field manager for this, and it's the McDonald's Passport to Play program. We go to 54 schools around the country, and basically, you can see we have a huge, giant inflatable globe, so kids get to figuratively and literally walk around the world, going to 4 different countries. They get to learn a little bit about culture and healthy eating habits in each country, and have fun doing it. We teach them about healthy eating habits and staying active, and that's really important, especially we have so many obese children and people who are just out of shape in general. So basically, we're trying to get the ball rolling, where we're going to teach the kids a little bit about, fun, healthy things to eat, and then also some new games that are going to be interesting and maybe that they'll want to play outside of today.
I know McDonald's hasn't always been thought of as the best eating habits. So how is McDonald's involved with this?
Well, McDonald's, feels they have a social responsibility to teach kids and to show people that there are options. Even if you go to McDonald's, there are salads, there are really healthy things you can get there. And so we're just telling the kids that they have a choice and to pick the healthy options so they can be healthy and stay fit. We have 4 different games. We have a game here in this country, and it's called Talachli. It's been around for 3,500 years. It's kind of like soccer. We have a game called Korfball. It's over in Holland, and that game is a cross between like our version of basketball and a version over there. It's played in 35 different countries. They use 10 hoops. There's no backboard, so it's a much more difficult shot. And then in China, we have a game called Kung Fu Says. It's similar to Simon Says, but there's some twists to keep it interesting. And then we also have Bukaball in Thailand, which is a cross between hacky sack and volleyball. So it's like volleyball with no hands.
That lets you go to different countries around the world. And that's pretty much what we're going to be doing today. You guys, what country are you sitting in right now? Close. Usually it's the United States. But today, when you're sitting in this square, you're sitting in Holland. And when you go over there, you're going to Mexico. And over there, you're going to Thailand. And all the way to the other side of the world is China.
Now, the game we're going to be playing today is called Bukaball. Everybody say Bukaball.
Bukaball!
Now, you guys see this right here? Yeah. It's a net, all right? The game we're going to be playing, now what it does is we're going to take the ball, we're going to go back and forth just like volleyball with the net, but you guys can't use your hands. Just like, you have to use your feet, you have to use your knees, you have to use your chest, and yes, you use your head. Ready? Good, go get it, go get it. Good, 20 knee touches right over here. Good. Good, 20 knee touches. Here we go. Good.
In this next story, Principal James Nold of Washington High School will talk about in-service He'll explain what teachers do when your students are not in school. He'll also introduce us to Washington's special guest speaker, former Senator George McGovern.
Today we have the in-service, and we do have some in-services, a few throughout the year where the students are able to come in early and then leave early, so our teachers are able to meet in collaborative groups. And we have an umbrella of things that we work with our teachers on throughout the year. One of the things that we have worked on throughout this year and last year is the emphasis on poverty. And we know in Sioux Falls here that there is a poverty rate with 26% of our students here at Washington High School falling into the area of free and reduced lunch, which is an area of poverty, and how that affects education. So we had an opportunity to have the senator here to come and speak with us with regards to his work on poverty, just to see a larger understanding of poverty with our larger group of ELL students and students that come from maybe more impoverished countries, so we have a better understanding of what maybe they go through as they arrive here in this country. And just also with our own students here, with that poverty rate within the city of Sioux Falls and how that affects education, how we can better work and serve students in that way. So on these days that we have these early in-services, we now will go and work in collaborative groups and working on curriculum and different things that way, but we do understand fully that there are issues that affect our students that are outside of curriculum, and poverty is one of those issues.
He will be remembered in South Dakota for his commitment to the state, for his respect for the American farmer and the common man, and his devotion to furthering the cause of the poor and the hungry worldwide. So he's here today to speak to us on hunger and poverty. And thank you, Senator, and welcome to Washington.
The issue that has held my attention more hours and days and weeks and years than any other is the problem of human hunger. So this is the program. The first call I made back to the States when I got this idea was to Bob Dole, my bipartisan friend. I used to think he was one of the meanest guys in the United States Senate, but I had a little to do with civilizing him, and other people have contributed, including his wife Elizabeth, who's now a United States Senator. He's one of my closest friends today, and he and I teamed up on this proposal. We went to see Bill Clinton, who was in his last year as President of the United States, and I made the same pitch I've just made to you. And he's a big guy. He was sitting next to me at this big cabinet room table. And he started raising his fist as I came to an end, and he hit that table. I thought he was going to split it. He said, "You know, this is just a grand idea, and we're going to do it." And he dug up $300 million and to start the program. You can feed quite a few kids on $300 million if you get it every year. You don't want to start unless you're going to try to match it in the years that follow. We've gotten some help from the Bush administration. Let me tell you this. It'd probably take roughly $8 billion to reach all these hungry kids. Well, roughly $8 billion. You'd have to have it every year. If we had the money we're spending on this hopeless war in Iraq for just 1 week, if we had every year, just 1 week of the cost of this war, we could reach all these kids, and we shouldn't have to pay all of that ourselves. I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. We need $8 billion from the world as a whole. We ought to contribute $2 billion, since we're the richest country in the world, although we owe an awful lot of money. Did you read yesterday where the national debt went beyond $9 trillion for the first time in the history of America? That's what wars do. When you go to war and then give everybody that stays home a tax cut, well, the war is going on. The debt balloons through the roof. But if the United States gave $2 billion, that's what it costs to fight this war for 1 week. And then the other countries combined give $6 billion, we'd be through with hunger among school-age children the world around. I think it would do more to tamp down the resentment and bitterness and anger that I suspect drives some of the terrorist impulses. in these countries. You can't be sure of that. I don't think any of us really knows what's inside of this handful of terrorists around the world. Fortunately, there are not very many of them. Obviously, you can't reach them by military means. It's too easy to hide if you don't have a uniform and are out in the desert or in the hills. But we might have some success in raising a new generation that would be less angry and less furious and less resentful of those of us who are rich, which everybody thinks we are. I'm here to say that the United States, in concert with other nations around the world, can end hunger on this planet in a reasonably short time. This is a soluble problem. Some problems may not be so easily solved. This one can be. What we need is the will to make available our knowledge of the production and distribution of food to take care of hunger everywhere around the globe. I would begin with a school lunch program to reach every hungry school-age child in the world. I would combine that with a WIC-type program to provide nutrient supplements to low-income, pregnant and nursing women and their infants through the age of 5. Those two figures, the WIC program and the school lunch program, could reach 400 million people with a good, nutritious meal every day.
How can the common viewer get involved with this program?
Well, every church has an overseas arm, a service arm, to reach internationally. So you should make sure that your church has such an item in the budget and that it's adequately funded. And I would go so far as to say there ought to be questions asked. Will some of this go to feeding hungry children?
This year's state AAA football championship included 2 Sioux Falls teams. Washington and Roosevelt faced each other in the Dakota Dome and gave us fans one of the most exciting championship games ever. We talked with Coach Brent DeBoer of Roosevelt, and he'll give us his insights on the season and a great championship game. He'll also talk with 2 Roosevelt team members.
You know, last year we were fortunate enough to get to the state championship game, and then we're fortunate enough to win. So, you know, going into the winter, we had a lot of guys back and thought that maybe we had a chance to get back to the Dome again, and that's everybody's goal, of course, to get there in the first place. And you always have goals like you want to win the state title, you want to win the conference, you want to be the city champ. And, you know, we have a very good football mecca here in Sioux Falls with O'Gorman and Washington and Lincoln. It isn't always easy to do those things that you want to accomplish. So going into the year, we knew that we had a nice football team. We were picked number 1 in the beginning, which is always, to me, not where you want to be. I would rather be picked number 7 and be under the radar and have to prove yourself because you work so hard to get where you want to get, the state championship, and we did that last year. Now this year we started out on the top. Then, you know, we had a good year going. We lost to O'Gorman in the second game, a great football game, and then went through until we got to week 6 and went to Yankton and actually did not play badly at Yankton, but lost again. I think it was a focus, a wake-up call, whatever you want to say. Our kids came back from that game with some really bad feelings, and we went back to work on Monday with kind of a renewed spirit, a renewed interest, and went through the rest of the season and then into the playoffs. I thought as focused as we've ever been as a football team, and just found ourselves in a really good spot. We got to go back to the Dome. We were playing Washington High School, which is a new rivalry for us. Coach Hermanson and I have coached together for a long time, and I think that's kind of made this a personal rivalry, not so much a team thing, but we're fortunate to get there, and I thought we played in a really unique football game. Our kids did a great job. We didn't really do all the things we wanted to do, but played well enough to win. Found ourselves in a really good spot. So I'm really pleased. And to win the second straight title, you know, everybody wants to get there to win one. We've been fortunate now to be able to play 2 and to win too, and I give a lot of credit to people who deserve it. Our coaches, I got a great coaching staff. We have great kids here. I have great leadership with our senior players. So, we've been really fortunate and feel really good about where we're right now.
Now, tell me a little bit about the championship game. The first couple of sets you went through, 3 and out, and had to punt. What changed in the next set? Was it going for it on 4th down that got you into that?
Well, I think that we ended up doing what we normally like to do, which is kick off and play defense. And we made them punt, and then they made us punt, and then on their next series they scored. And it was kind of unusual because our defensive group had not given many yards on the ground. We'd been really good against the run, and they got a long run. I think we were kind of taken aback a little bit. I think our kids were kind of going, whoa, what's happening? Then we had to punt again, and they got the ball, and they did kick a field goal. So it was 10-0. And at that point, I don't think anybody panicked on our team. But, there were some questions because we now found ourselves in a pretty unfamiliar spot. We hadn't been behind very often this year. And our resilience showed. I think one of the things that we talked about all year is when something happens, you have to pretend like you knew it was going to happen. If it's something good, so be it. We'll go on and we'll go to the next play. If it's something bad, same thing. Right? We can't dwell on either the good or the bad. We need to go on to the next step and just make it work. So down 10-0, we got into a nice long drive. We're able to score, made it 10-7. They got another big play and made it 17-7. We scored before half, so it was 17-14 going into halftime. And we felt like in the second period that we had pretty much controlled the football game, even though we weren't ahead. And so we went out in the third quarter. I think they got 3 plays. We ran everything else that we wanted to do but couldn't score. And went into the start of the fourth quarter, and I believe we did score. We went ahead. And kind of the rest is just kind of a blur. We were up 21-17. They score on a huge play with about 2 minutes to go. And we came out into our no-huddle offense and didn't throw the ball. We ran, I think, 7 plays. And we're able to score with about 30 seconds left, and the rest is history. But I give our kids a lot of credit for not panicking, for taking the game as it was. We were doing the things that we could do. We did them well. Our defense stepped up in the second half and stopped them all but one play. And so our kids deserve a lot of credit for what they did.
Now you set a state record for running attempts. That obviously is your game plan, and you must have pretty much stuck with the plan.
Well, we found ourselves in a good spot where they couldn't stop our running game. I don't know the exact way to put that, but we were very successful with our running attack, and so we just decided to stay with it. We just said, well, they can't. We're having good success with it. We're going to keep doing it. And, it's kind of what we like to do. We have a good running game with Sturdivant, Bills, Weiss, Engelson. We have 4 quality running backs. I give our offensive line a lot of credit. They've maligned all year, but they stepped up and did a really good job. So, yeah, I was pretty surprised that we ran the ball 66 times, but, that's a good thing for us. If we can control the football, I think we're going to win.
Exactly. Not to point anyone out, but can you talk a little bit about Mr. Sturdivant's performance in that game?
Well, I think David had a great night. We called his number a little bit more than the others. I think all of them were successful, but we ran one play about 28 times. But here's the deal with that. Trevor Engelson had to block every time on that play. Our offensive line did a really nice job of opening holes. So David had a lot of success, but there were a lot of other individuals who kind of have to do their job in order for David to have a good night. But, he had it looked like another gear. He had a little more fire in his run, but it was because of all the other people that he was able to run with so much success.
How long have you been playing football?
I started in 7th grade and I played 2 years, 7th and 8th at Memorial. And then freshman year I didn't go out for football. I just decided to focus on basketball, then realized with friends' influence that I should play football. So I went out sophomore year and played these last 3 years.
Okay. So you are, what grade?
I'm a senior.
You are a senior,
yeah.
Okay. Now, this is the end of your high school career. Are you going to go on into college?
I want to play sports somewhere in college, football or basketball, I'm not sure. More than likely football, but where yet to be seen. So,
which is there a specific highlight of the season that you can remember or recall? And your coach was talking about 4 interceptions for a lineman. That's pretty great.
Oh yeah, 2 last year and 2 this year. I mean, that's always great to get an interception, get in the end zone. Should have got in again, but got a little tired. But the state championship's always the highlight. I mean, we had the loss to Yankton stands out, and from there it turned around. We were a totally different team. But the state championship's what will always be remembered for this season. No stats or anything else.
Now, what were you thinking when Washington went ahead there in the 4th quarter and you guys had to come back? Did you think you could do it?
Our offense had been clicking for the last 6-7 weeks, and we have great confidence in our teammates. I mean, big play capabilities with everybody on our team, with Brock, David, and Trevor. So yeah, we had confidence, and then I had confidence in our field goal kicker if we were going to have to do that, and then Brock got in the open field, and it was green daylight from there. So,
you were the quarterback of the Roosevelt Rough Riders. Did you start all the games this season?
Started all of them. There was a little question about the last one. I had a back injury. I had broken a bone that's attached to my spine, so there was a little question whether I was going to play championship game or not, but ended up doing it and worked out all right.
Great. Now you were only a junior this year, so you're looking forward to next year.
Right.
And what can you do as a quarterback to improve upon this season?
I think the main thing is make sure all of our guys are ready to go by the start of next season. Pushing guys to get in the weight room and that type of thing, making sure they're ready to go.
And what was the highlight of this season? Was it the championship game this year?
I'd say definitely. You can't the feeling or the game itself. It was a really good game. Probably the best game we'd played all year. Ended up winning, so can't get any better than that.
Yeah, I think without a doubt it was one of the finest championship games I'd ever watched. Can you tell me a little bit about what you were thinking as you came out on that last drive when Washington had gone ahead?
I was a little nervous, but at the same time I knew that we did have a good offense and we were explosive, and we had plenty of time left on the clock to put together a good solid drive, and we ended up doing it and worked out for the best.
That's all for this month's edition of the School Zone. Stay tuned to K-Learn TV for our next journey into the School Zone. Good night.
K-Learn programming is possible in part by Sanford Children's.